So this will be the moment of truth. Okay, that's promising. Take it out of gear and let's pray, man. Hey, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another video. Now today we're gonna be working on the 2000 Acura Integra GSR. And if you guys haven't seen the previous video on this, I'd really recommend checking it out, and I'll make sure to leave a link above. Now in the previous video where we left off is we did an overview of the exterior, the interior, as well as the engine bay. And I'm kind of giving you guys the baseline of what this car initially looked like. And as you can see, it's in pretty filthy condition. It needs work for sure, and there was actually no key. Now, just to give you guys a background story on this car, the most recent buyer was actually from Doug DeMiro's Cars and Bids. So this was pretty much like almost a bring a trailer example, a very well kept, fully original Acura Integra GSR. Granted, it does have upgraded suspension and little aftermarket bits here and there, but to find one of these old Hondas in one piece, especially an Acura Integra GSR, is almost near impossible these days because of the tuning culture behind these and the fact that people just love to modify them, because there's so many characteristics that make this almost like the golden age of Hondas, or Acuras if you want to be really technical here. What happened next was the fact that somebody stole this, took it out, joyriding, you know, God knows what, and then it ended up being abandoned, and then this is where it eventually made its way in Northern California. And through the power of social media, I was able to get in touch with Eric, who was the previous owner of this car, right before he sold it on Cars and Bids.
It's like, I can't believe this car is kind of resurfaced, and it's kind of sad to see it, but dude, it's super cool that it just didn't, like, I don't know what you're going to do with it, but you sound like a guy that has some care in it, and it's not that far gone. Like you were kind of speculating in your video how you're like, man, you know, there's like things here. Dude, that car not a year and a half ago was showroom ready to rock. And it's sad to see that the hood and things, it kind of fell into crackhead hands, you know, and that's what's up, but it doesn't look like it's too far gone. I have a full like Excel spreadsheet of like all the things I did, and pretty much down to like the penny, if you want to see all that. So I think I remember in your video there, it said that it has like 134K. Is that right?
I think 137,000.
Okay. I want to see that thing was like down in the teen when I sold it, but I don't recall right off. So it's definitely gotten some miles on it, but nothing crazy. And I still on my phone, man, I can send it to you. I can send you my whole photo gallery of like what was on Cars and Bids, of what it looked like. I mean, that car had just gone through, previous to my ownership, had just gone through a respray. I didn't get any previous documentation really since I owned it. I mean, maybe one or two receipts, some minor body work. As you mentioned in your video, all the VINs matched and all of the panels. I don't know, I'll have to go back. It's all kind of speculative at this point, but I know I replaced the stupid door handle. That thing always broke on those cars. That's notorious, and it broke on me. So yeah. I sourced another one from a junkyard and got it painted. I had a minimal body work. I didn't do much. It was more mechanical. Like I put that CD player, the original Acura one, in there. That was an eBay score.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it as much justice as the way you had it before, but at least get it as close to as I can.
Hondas, they could take the abuse. Like that's the thing. Like if it's not too far gone, which yours isn't, I mean, it just depends on how far you want to go.
Now, the last time that we were able to get this car started is because the whole entire ignition is so messed up. As you can see over here, this is the original key lock cylinder. And when this portion of the lock is exposed, it bypasses everything that is required when you're using the key on this car in particular. So now when you're able to go here, you can use anything from a teaspoon or a screwdriver or even just a regular old key that would fit in this hole and be able to turn the ignition over to start the car. But the one issue that we were having is the fact that these cars actually have an immobilizer. All that really does is it denies you the fact of being able to turn over the car without having the synchronization to the actual key itself. So the good news is we actually got a key made for this thing, and what I'll do today is we'll fire it up and see how it sounds. So this will be the first time that we get to hear this thing run. And before we get into the video, I did want to take one moment just to talk about our sponsor for today, Tesla Mats USA. Now, this is actually my good friend Phil, and we're checking out his 2023 Tesla Model Y. And if you want to come through, we can take a look in further detail about the floor mats that we got here. So what's really nice about these floor mats is their slip resistance, and the whole goal with these is to basically make sure that your Tesla is fully protected. As you know, with this channel, we thrive on tastefully clapped automobiles. So this might be out of our realm a little bit and out of our comfort zone, but for somebody out there that has a brand new Tesla Model Y, why would you not get some nice fresh floor mats for it? So it almost has like this carbon fiber-like design on it, which really comes in handy. And as you can see, the fitment is a 10 out of 10. It's slip resistant and you can spill all kinds of stuff on it. And what we'll even demonstrate later is maybe trying out some tasty pastries to put on this, just to ensure that this gets the stamp of approval from us. Cheers.
And you can see, there's just a really lovely substance coming out of here. And even though I made all of this mess, I am enjoying my food while fully protecting this Tesla, because this is not mine by any means. And I'm really sorry, Phil. But you get some nice mats out of it, so I would say this is quite an acquisition.
So I'll make sure to leave a link down below if you want to check that out. But I think with that being said, let's get back to the video. Now, last time what we did is we just put some starting fluid in there, because you can still crank over the car, but the computer won't communicate with the rest of the engine to be able to get it to run. So all it will do is just pretty much crank endlessly. But since we were so curious as to the condition of the engine, we just wanted to see that it would at least crank over and maybe fire if we just put some starting fluid in it. And luckily it did, but in that case, it still only gives us a little bit of information about what's actually going on here. And as you know, there's definitely some other things that need some more attention. It's definitely not in the condition that it once was when it was on Cars and Bids. As you can see, there's some quarter panel damage there. It got hit here in the back, and it was so bad to the point where we actually couldn't open up this hatch. But luckily, since we have a key now, it seems like we're able to open this pretty easily. And this actually may take a little bit more effort than I thought. So I'm gonna do this real quick. And there's a bag full of females' clothes, which is interesting. And then there's also these floor mats. We also have some moldings for the doors and the rear glass over here, which is actually pretty commonplace for the old Hondas. I see some of the trim starting to fall off there, little pieces of rubber, but overall, the car is all here in one piece, and that's all what we're really looking for, because we're gonna be putting this one back together, and I'm very excited to see the progress that we'll make on this one. But on top of that too, when we fired it up, it sounds like somebody took the catalytic converter, which is, again, very common thing that happens with these, unfortunately. So I don't know where exactly they cut it off. So I think what we'll do in today's video is we'll start up the car, see how it sounds, and then I'm gonna maybe jack this up on one corner and just take a little peek and see what needs to be replaced, because it all really depends on where they made the cut, because I'm sure they just went in there carelessly with a Sawzall, and it could be something very easy to replace. You just replace the cat, or it may need to require more, maybe replacing the headers too as well, or heck, maybe even just reevaluating the whole exhaust system itself. But since this is such a fully original car, I think the goal with this one is just to maintain its stock form. I don't see any reason to go crazy with the mods on this one, because it's just such a well-kept example. And in the Honda community nowadays, it's almost better to have a fully stock car than a fully modified one. So I'm not saying you shouldn't go out and modify your car, but I think for this one, the goal would be just to maintain its original presence as it was back in the day. I mean, that was over 23 years ago now. And for something that is so old, I mean, it's so iconic that anybody that's a Honda enthusiast of any kind can appreciate something like this, including myself. Let's set this up. I think I need to get a jump pack underneath there, and then we can fire up the car and see how it sounds. But overall, this thing's awesome. I don't know why it puts a smile on my face every time just seeing the GSR engine. I mean, this was like cream of the crop. If you wanted something, you know, this is right below the Type R. This is what everybody wanted. So the steering column isn't super perfect just yet. Things definitely need to be tidied up. As you can see, all this stuff is very loosely on here. But like I was saying, all I want to do today is just hear it run. So this will be the moment of truth. Okay, that's promising. Take it out of gear, and let's pray, man. Dude, it sounds really good. It's so loud because there's no cat. It's almost like open headers, but oh man. What a blessing. Dude, so smooth. It's like you could put a glass of water on top and it wouldn't move, I swear to God. It's very smelly though. Let's see if I can hear it underneath. Yeah, it's basically like open headers. Nothing's coming out the back. I don't see any like oil burning or any sketchy stuff like that. I'll take a look underneath, see if it's leaking any oil. I don't see anything. No leaks. It's just very, very loud. I wonder if it'll move. Let's take the jump box off. Oh, wow. It really needs the jump box. That battery is super cooked. Okay, so we'll keep the jump box on there. I wish I'd brought my diagnostic plug with me, but maybe I'll save that for the next video. Yeah, what a shame. You know, I was actually very curious. I wanted to turn the wheel all the way and I wanted to see up close and personal with the suspension. See if I could do it without having to raise the car. Oh yeah, it looks like a set of teen coilovers. Those look really nice. Sweet. Now let's see if I can get underneath there and see where the cat is for you guys. Or where the lack of is. Oh yeah, you see it right there? I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell, but you can see that cut right there on the pipe. Yep. Straighten the wheel out here. Power steering feels good. Does the air conditioning work? I would be shocked, but it's a Honda. Even the AC works in the biohazard Honda, so I believe anything at this point. Does the radio work? I believe you have to get the code for the radio. I looked everywhere for it. Sometimes they keep it in the fuse box in the engine bay, but in this one I didn't see it, nor was it anywhere here. So what you can do sometimes is you can get the VIN and you can go to your local Honda or Acura dealership and they may be able to cross-reference and give you it. But from what I remember, or at least in my old 4-door Integra, it's a 4 number code and this should completely bypass everything. And I really can't tell if the AC is working, but it's a hot day today for sure, and this is an all-black car, and I do feel cool air coming in. So maybe it needs to be recharged, or maybe it just needs to be properly driven, because when a car's idling, it's definitely not the best interpretation of whether it works or not. So I'll just turn this off for now. But the engine sounds very healthy, very healthy. But holy moly, this thing is loud. It's like open headers. Yeah, I don't want to get too rowdy here, so I think I'll cut the power there. But man, that is really awesome. Would love to figure out what the exhaust issues are. Have to take this through inspection, of course, but the biggest thing would be to just get this out on the road. So that'll be the goal, of course. But along with that, we want to make this car look really good. So at the end of the day, all of this stuff is just a work in progress. But I want to make sure that we go step by step through this one. So I think I might grab my jack here real quick. I'm just a little concerned if it's too high. I need to get a low pro jack because the one that I currently have, it sits kind of tall, and this is a pretty low car, so I'm not sure if there's gonna be enough clearance, but I'll at least roll it over here and give it a shot and see what we can do. I feel like I just woke up half the neighborhood rolling this thing over. But luckily, it seems like, wow, it's the perfect height. Thank goodness for stock ride height. I'm not gonna crawl all the way underneath here. I really just wanna take a peek and see and inspect further where they made the incision. Okay, now that gives us a very clear view as to what it looks like underneath. So, is it the headers that cut it off? Oh no, it's right there. Okay, so the cut is made right at the end of the header over here. And it's such a clean cut. And then they cut it right there. They left a part of the, what that looks like to be some sort of clamp. No effect on the hanger. They left that at least, but golly, what a mess. So you might actually need to replace the header itself, or you just take this to an exhaust shop and they'd be able to just take some piping and whatever cat you want to run and then go with it. But it's still very, very annoying that they took it. But luckily underneath it looks very good. I mean, I'm just completely eyeballing this stuff, but usually you'll see like those bushings over there get all squished over time, but they look really good on the lower control arms. Yeah, man, this thing is such a gem. Or at least to us it is. I really appreciate this thing. I think this is going to be such an awesome build. So, yeah, it looks like we'll have to make some solutions there. I mean, what you could totally do is you could do like a catback exhaust, upgrade this. But if you want to retain like the 100% OEM configuration, at least with this, you probably could just go on Facebook Marketplace, wait for a part out, and then maybe get lucky that way. Because I don't think junkyards, or at least in our local area, sell those type of catalytic converters like that. Even though at one point in time, when it was like during COVID and stuff, it felt like everybody and their grandma was cutting off cats to sell either, you know, under the table or to junkyards illegally. So yeah, there you go. Just more work to do. Just the fact that the engine sounds so good, it's a very promising sign that the transmission is also going to be good too. But I don't want to make any guarantees here because we still got body work to do. And I'm sure that there's going to be more imperfections once we actually wash this for the first time and see what's underneath all this dirt and grime, because it's pretty evident that this thing's been sitting for so long. But it's very good news that we know exactly where the cut was made on the exhaust, so we can start to further investigate the best solution for that. It's either go OEM or maybe just fully upgrade at this point. We got a lot of options there. And we'll tidy things up on the key lock cylinder as well as the ignition as a whole so that we can just start using it again. And luckily with these old Hondas, it doesn't take a mad scientist to be able to reconfigure this stuff. I mean, even what you guys saw in my old Civic, where you're able to do it for like $9 and be able to get the key and just put it in the car and fire it right up. So I would say that this is a great little acquisition. But in the meantime, I'd be very curious to see what you guys think down in the comments. So let me know down in the comments what you think we should do with this car, what you think about it. And I know that this channel is slowly kind of turning into a Honda channel since we have this and we have the Civic as well. But it's stuff that I like to do, stuff that I grew up doing as a teenager. So I feel, you know, like I'm in a position where I could talk about it pretty fluidly and actually know what I'm talking about for the most part. But I'm not claiming to be a genius because at the end of the day, I'm just some guy on the internet. But before we close things out, I do also want to say that we have new merch on the site, which I'll make sure to link down below. But I think with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe for more. And I really appreciate you guys coming out today. So take care, and I'll see you in the next one.